This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses, is advised.
Good afternoon, welcome everyone. My name is Dylan, coming to you from Tswalu Kalahari. I've got something extremely exciting for you this afternoon. We're going to hold thumbs. I'm going to be looking for some porcupines. Welcome to your safari life, your live safari. Great having you with us. As always, Master Genre on camera. And my name's Dylan, for those of you who haven't met us. Like I mentioned just now, we've got something super exciting planned this afternoon. I don't know if it's going to actually work, but it's going to take a lot of patience, a lot of time. So if you guys are keen, I think we're going to just do this. We found a very, very, very special and very fresh, big, probably one of the biggest porcupine burrows I've ever seen on Tswalu, a little bit earlier today. So Genre and I, we're going to go sit there, do a stakeout. The wind is actually perfectly in our favor. So this is just going to take some time. But the reason I want to do that now is in these winter months with this cooler weather, it is the best chance we'll ever have of seeing porcupines in broad daylight. They are strictly nocturnal animals, except winter, late afternoon. You can get them out, and these ones probably, I'm going to guess, will probably come out, look around the little burrow entrance a little bit, sniffling. They sometimes sun themselves at the burrow entrance. And a porcupine is an animal that a lot of people actually never get to see, even when you go on safari. So I think if we can show you that, it's going to be something super, super, super special. It is just going to take some time from Genre and myself. We're just going to have patience, but I think we can do it. And of course, as always, it is great having you with. And remember, we are in the kids show, so please don't be shy. Send your questions through to us. And let's see if we can answer them. And if we can't, we'll find out what the answers are, and we'll definitely get right back to you. And while we're out there, Genre is also going to be keeping an eye open for any new birds. So that'll be quite interesting. You say that's 2 new birds, Genre? Okay, great. Well, I think on that note, we're going to carry on ambling down here. And let's, like I say, just hold thumbs for us. And brilliant having you along.
Good afternoon, boys and girls, and welcome to Prrivate Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands. My name is Steve. I'm joined by Diversity on camera, and over my shoulder, you were watching a moment ago a grey go-away bird having a drink. Shall we have a look some more? Wonderful to spend time at these little watering holes looking for generally any animal that might come and drink. Very nice saying to remember, boys and girls, is that water is the currency of life. Most organisms I think of, like this greater blue-eared starling, require water. Plants, animals, birds. I suppose that birds are animals. Whoopsie, off it goes. Although some are very well adapted, surviving with very low amounts of water, or they're able to get water from certain plant parts And Dylan over in the Kalahari will probably be able to find you some of those animals. This is the go-away bird, called the grey go-away bird, and he's looking either for some fruits in the tree there, or he's wanted to come down again and have a drink. Isn't he a wonderful fellow? Yes, he wants to come and drink in the light this time. Delicious. How cool is his hairstyle? Very cool, isn't it? You probably heard him going, quack. That's where his name, go-away bird, comes from. Oh, Darby, we've got a barbet over there as well, but let's wait for this guy to finish drinking. He's got some friends coming down. Here's a starling and a go-away bird. And some mouse birds, some red-faced mouse birds. They've got a very long tail, which makes them look like a flying mouse. Quite easy to remember. There's the barbet. I just have them on the right, but let's watch these ones first. Look at them. Oh, how cool is that? See, they like to come down in groups. We talk about this all the time. Safety in numbers. Birds like this are obviously under a little bit of risk landing on the floor. There are many, many different predators, flying predators that could quite easily come and take them out. So you see how they drink and have a look, drink and have a look. And they're hoping that someone will see it first. For example, if I climbed out the car now and moved there, you'd see all these birds would just scatter immediately, because they obviously see me as a bit of a threat. Oh, he's enjoying some clothes there. What a marvellous meal. Okay, well, we're going to send you over to Pridelands with Taylor McCurdy. Please say good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. We have a huge herd of elephants that have just been frolicking around in the water, which we did try and show you, but we might be able to show you at some point, because it seems as though all the breeding herds of elephants in the area are coming for a drink today. But we will try and see if we can get a view of some more of the little ones. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Gert. And like I said, we are at Pridelands, so I look forward to having all your questions. So please send them on through. You can see, look at this one over here that's covered in mud. They've been very busy. We've had about 3 different breeding herds of elephants come down and drink at the same time. There was lots of chaos at the dam. The poor warthogs, Impala and Kudu, that tried to drink in between these grey giants. Shame, they were the ones that really suffered. They got chased away, trumpeted at, dust thrown at them. It was all very scary, but they ran away. I'm sure they'll come back once the elephants have moved off. And this elephant had a lovely mud bath. You can see how it splashed all the mud on itself. Some of them were even almost rolling around in it and doing headstands and putting their tusks straight down into the mud. It was quite entertaining. But now that the sun is back out, it's important that they coat themselves in mud. For the last few days, the only part of their bodies that was really getting wet was their trunks. Otherwise, they hadn't been for a swim in a few days. Felix, if we look very carefully, you can actually see that this elephant really enjoys leaves. And it's eating red bush willow leaves at the moment. How tasty. But elephants need to eat lots of different things, Felix. So they'll eat leaves, they'll eat grass. When there's delicious sweet fruit around, they'll definitely eat that. They can use those tusks to dig. And they'll put their heads on the ground and they'll dig out bulbs. And then they also like to eat the bark off of trees, which I'll show you. My goodness, they eat lots of bark at this time of the year. So they eat lots of things, and large amounts of it too, Felix. So this elephant is going to eat a little bit on this red bush willow tree, and then it will move on to something else. But those leaves don't look very nice. They're all starting to get dry and turn yellow. He's also making it rain on himself. You can hear the elephants are very vocal today too. They've all been chatting and trumpeting, like I said, at the other animals. They weren't very happy with them coming to get their water. Hello, big boy. He's just coming over to say hello. Very typical. They can't walk past you and not look at you funny and then carry on. Now, are you going to go and have a rub on a tree? Because there was another elephant that was just having a nice scratch. So let's see if it does the same thing. No, not yet. Look, Felix, still eating more leaves. Ooh, that's a different technique that it was doing. That tree over there has got nice long stems, so it's able to pull the leaves off quite easily. I like that sound of when it pulls off all the leaves. It's very satisfying. Okay. Oh, straight through the branches. There we go. Having a scratch, like I said. So this is a very nice tree to have a scratch. Look at all that bark. Oh, there we go. That's a good rub. And when you've got skin that's a few centimeters thick, it's very difficult to reach that itch. Can you hear that? It's a pity it's not particularly loud. You can hear its skin rubbing up on the tree. If I were to go and rub up against on that tree, I'd probably sort of skin myself. It would be terrible. I don't have thick enough skin to do that. Nothing like a good bottom scratch as well. I think that's a favorite thing of an elephant. Or a belly rub. Oh, and just breaking some more bush willow leaves to feed on while he has a good scratch. And you're going to turn around and do the other side. I wish you could hear the sounds properly. It's amazing. It sounds like sandpaper. There we go. Almost done. One last scratch. If you scratch on one side, you've got to do the other side. And it's amazing how strong that tree is. It was barely moving. Normally when elephants scratch up on trees like that, the whole tree will shake. But not that one. Anushka, I would imagine that must be one of the most satisfying things for an elephant. I know what I feel like if I am a little bit itchy and I need to scratch myself and I haven't been able to find something that can reach. I think that would be the same thing. We've got elephants all behind us now, so I'm just watching. We will look at these ones that are about to cross the road, but we're surrounded by a beautiful breeding herd. Like I said, a couple of them passing through here. I'm not sure if this is all one herd now, but I think it's the three different groups. One went to the west and the other two herds were sort of moving in the same direction and moving east. Oh, they're coming so close to us. You can probably hear the rustling of the leaves behind us. So I'm just looking in my mirrors to make sure no one is getting too close. Oh, what did you find on the floor? Do you see how that elephant walked and then stopped immediately? You've got an itchy heel, have you? Or are you going to throw some sand over yourself? Or maybe it got a thorn or something wedged in a little crack there. Right, we've got a little elephant, a cow. Right, we've got a little elephant, a cow coming to feed right up to the left of us. Hello, big girl. Oh, it's my favorite elephant, Alicia Keys. Hello, big girl. She's right up behind the car. No. She did a big head shake now, but she's carrying on walking. She's fine. She definitely thinks that she's one of the matriarch elephants. I know you can't see her, sorry. She's walked behind the vehicle. And the reason why I think she is one of the more dominant females is that when another herd of elephants came to feed, so this is part of her herd, this is one of her females, and one of her calves is also coming up towards the car now. Don't come too close, elephants, going right behind us. And she stood up to that other herd. She charged on forward. She stood there. She trumpeted. She had her ears out. And when she trumpeted, a few more elephants ran to her side as well and stood with her and sort of held the other herd off until her group had finished drinking. We're going to start to see a lot of conflict around watering holes. But now there's plenty of things to feast on, so they won't be too worried about arguing with one another. But they'll normally keep their distance from one another. Now, Joel, who's just 4 years old, you know what, when you're the size of an elephant, you don't have to worry about too many things. But lions in some areas are known to hunt elephants, so they have to be careful. And then occasionally we've seen little elephants. We actually saw some this morning that were missing their tails, or at least part of their tails. So I think hyenas can definitely be a bit of a problem too when they're young, and they'll chase, the herds around. And that's what hyenas like to do. They always end up holding onto the tail of whatever big mammal species they're trying to hunt. Otherwise, elephant bulls fighting with one another can be a big threat too. Look at the tiny baby.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to andBeyond Ngala. My name is Bunny. Cameraman, I have got Owen behind me. We have just started our afternoon drive by driving down the riverbed in an area where we heard leopard calling earlier on today. And as we drive the riverbed to look for tracks, we have just come across this herd of elephants that is moving behind us across the road. You can see a young one giving us a little bit of a head shake there. You can see we're just seeing the back end of one. Looks like a female on a distance there. Busy feeding. Sounds like there is more coming from the front of us. Looks like this is quite a reasonable sized herd. So far, I think I've counted to at least 8. And I can still hear more further into the bushes there. Ryan, elephant tusks, it's all genetic, so there is no really right size. Some individuals will have like a little bit smaller one, but some other individuals will have a really huge tusk that sometimes even touch the ground. It is a genetic diversity. It is similar to some of us as humans, some people having very long hair, and some of us as men go bald. That is also genetic. So it's a similar concept to the elephant tusk. Look at this one, Ryan, walking across right in front of us, quite a distance away still. You can see his tusks are also quite small, facing completely on the either side. They all seem to be slowly but surely disappearing into the thick bush, and all you can hear is them crashing through these bushes. As this one disappears away from the screen, I'm going to try and find another view, drive around, maybe we can find a view that will even be better, just to see if you can. Anishka, they can be full of attitude in most cases. It is similar to us. It really depends on the day that you get them. They will have days where they're very happy and they're moving away and doing their thing without being worried about you being around. But there are days that they seem not to be interested to what we're doing and wanting to see them. Like the one that you just saw on the screen now, walking straight past without wasting any time. There is one big female that looks really, really big that is coming from the left, which, looking at the size of that particular elephant, when my man Owen find him on the zoom there, she looked like she might be the leader female of this group. Out of all the elephants that we've seen here in this herd, she is the largest one. Look at her slowly moving across the road with some mud patches all over her body. It looks like sometimes during the day today she has been in a mud wallow. It doesn't look like there was good enough mud to be able to cover the whole body, so she's got black patches on her body from the mud that she managed to spray herself with. Look at how the other elephants that were behind the bushes are just marching with her as she starts moving away. It does show that it looks like everybody listens to what she has to say and follow without any hesitation. It's amazing how something that big walk from this close to us and we can hardly hear the sound. They're so quiet as they move through this thick bush. So what we're going to do now, because they've disappeared away from the camera already, we'll try and see if we can find another view. However, elephants throw dust on themselves because they don't have any sweat glands and their skin is slightly sensitive to the direct heat. So by throwing sand or mud onto their body, they're covering their skin, helping to keep themselves cooler. And also preventing themselves from easily being irritated by ectoparasite.
Sorry, I've got a very naughty elephant. Cheeky boy. No, don't. Very rude and unnecessary. I know that you're taller than me. Sorry, I have to discipline the elephants here. They're very badly behaved today. Cheeky. So we watched him. He actually not snuck up onto us, because it's very difficult for an elephant to sneak, especially in this type of vegetation. It's a little bit on the open side, but he walked and he walked and he pretended to feed. And then I looked down and looked up, and there he was standing, but not wanting to do anything, just showing himself off to us. Again, a very young bull. So with these naughty boys, it's important that we as trained safari guides don't let them think that they can start dominating over the cars. Otherwise, that's when you cause problems with elephants, and they can start chasing vehicles and all types of things like that. You guys all know with me, I'm very cautious with Ellies, and I don't like it when big cows and big elephant bulls come and tower over my car. I normally move away for them and give them some space. But with these young bulls, it is sometimes important to just stand your ground a little bit. And I was nice to him, and then he didn't want to be nice back. So then I had to raise my voice a little bit and just very gently clap my hands. And I actually put my hand up at one point. I don't know why we do that. Make ourselves look bigger, I suppose. And now he's sulking, and he's walked off. Good riddance to you, elephant, if you want to be rude like that to me. We will find other elephants that are much nicer than that. And I don't know where they all have gone. We'll see if we can find another road, but they've just gone around the bend. It's always very entertaining being around elephants. There's literally not a day where I've gone, oh, the elephants were so boring. You can't say that about these animals. They just are so interactive, especially the elephants in the sort of greater Kruger area. They really are just so special. I'll carry on. Most of the herd has actually moved off. We were watching a few of the young bulls, as you saw, just come closer. They were the last ones to drink and splash around at the watering hole. That's not a road. I think that's an elephant track. We'll see if we can find them. Yeah. Okay. They're actually a little bit further ahead of us than I thought. I think there should be a road just going off to the right. And then it'll be good to spend some more time with them. Maybe this road is a lot further away than I anticipated. They are moving it. Okay, so I think the next time you see us, we'll hopefully be surrounded by elephants once again.
So, Chandra is now focused on the Porcupine burrow system that we're at. I'm talking very, very softly because we're sitting at currently at about 40 yards distant from it. We're not going to go any closer. Porcupines don't have great eyesight, and their hearing is kind of okay, but not really for direction because their ears are very, very small, almost like a meerkat design in a honey badger's, because they live underground, under the sand a lot of the time. Underground, under the sand. They go down burrows a lot. So what we're going to stay here. Their sense of smell is exceptional. That's why we're just putting Chandra further away and myself a little bit closer. No, but their sense of smell is really, really good. They rely on their sense of smell for finding food, which is roots, tubers, that kind of stuff. So they got to forage around, smell, and then dig. So we're going to sit here. It's going to take a lot of patience, but I'm very, very optimistic. I was saying earlier that in these winter months, they'll often come out and sun themselves at the entrance of the burrow and actually go foraging a lot earlier than they would normally do in summer, just because your ambient temperatures are so low. I'm super excited for all of you. I'm really, 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 really hoping that we actually get these animals. They are absolutely adorable little things, and for those of you who aren't aware, they are rodents. They're rats. Emma, who is 11, has just asked, are we more likely to see a pangolin, an aardvark, or a porcupine? It's an interesting question because if you put in enough effort for any of those, you can find one. The porcupines are by far the most common of those three. They are rats. It's the biggest rodent in Africa. It's just a big rat with a lot of spines in it. So we've got a lot of them. But they are quite shy. They spend their whole day underground down big deep burrows, come out late at night in summer. So it makes it more difficult to find them. Because remember, if you go track them, or you can only track when it's light. So you track them, okay, they're down a hole, so you don't see them. In terms of pangolin, is unquestionably the most rare and difficult to track. In fact, out of those very, very light animals, very small tracks, and there's few of them on the ground. They cover big areas, relatively few of them. Aardvark are nice, big and bulky. we're going to head over to Jenny. She's got something really cool.
What a fantastic way to start.
Good afternoon for everyone. This is Djuma from andBeyond, Phinda Private Game Reserve. As you can see right behind me, we have a wonderful, wonderful creature. It's just crawling right next to me. If you take a look, and that's a pangolin. This is very, very special to have. This is a very good start in the afternoon. Look at that. Busy checking out the ants from around this place, which is wonderful to see. It's like, for me, I can't believe we just seen one. Wow, look at that. It must be because some scent of the ant or something, as you can see. Wow, look at him. He might be find some special what he's looking for. Okay, guys, if you see that got like a bob on a back like that, that is it's like a radio. It's like one of these collar system what can be able to actually to track, especially for the researchers.
Guys, we're really, really sorry. We had a crash cut away from the pangolin Phinda. I mean, just the terrain there is very difficult, and these things do happen. But in the meantime, we're just chatting about the what are these things we're looking at? Oh, porcupines, like double P. It's confusing. So you'll see all these shallow holes in the ground over here, all over here. These are these porcupines that have been out foraging, so we know this is a very, very good area for them. The reason I'm saying that is I don't want to go too close to where those burrows are, but if you look at where aardvark have been digging, they're going for like termite nests, little ant nests and termite nests, and you often get the remains of those in the bottom of the holes. With porcupines, they're going for roots and roots and tubers, so you'll often see that, and that's kind of one of the easiest way. These burrows over here are these little holes that they've been digging, these foraging holes, are very old. There's nothing fresh over here. But I'm super excited about this. At the actual, sorry, I thought you were looking at another one. At the actual burrows, it is just masses and masses of super, super, super fresh sign and tracks. So I think we're on a very, very, very good wicket here. And I was mentioning earlier that, for those of you who don't know, they are rodents, eh? You know, they are the biggest rodents we have in Africa. Certainly not the biggest rodents in the world. There's a question for viewers. What is the biggest rodent in the world? I had rats. I had pet rats. They were just amazing animals. I had 3. Then a mongoose ate 1. And a snake tried to eat the others, but they didn't get it right. But rats are good. Ryan from Johannesburg has just asked, how many times have I seen porcupine? I've seen porcupine many, many, many times. But it is not.
Sorry, we just ran through some technical problems with Dylan, and hopefully it will be sorted soon. We have left those elephants that we had earlier on. They were heading down through some thick bush, so we couldn't keep up with them. At the moment, we are checking the other side of the riverbed, checking to see if we can come right with finding any tracks of the leopard that we had called earlier on from camp. So this time of the day, this leopard could doing anything really. Of course, he was active during the heat hour of the day at around 1, 2. So there's a chance that he might be lying down in a shady spot. So Owen and myself, as we drive around now, we're busy looking up trees on the ground on a shady spot to see what we can see. We're also just going to swing past a small waterhole in the riverbed just to have a quick check for in case he came by for a quick drink. We might get our lead here off tracks to be able to try and follow through. So Emily, we left the lines this morning sleeping in that open area. We're thinking that they most likely to still be in and around that area, maybe have moved a short distance to lie on a shady spot. We are planning on heading there later on in the afternoon to go see what they're gonna get up and be up to in the evening. At this moment in time, we're thinking that even if we go back there, the lions will be as sleepy as they were this morning when we finally left them. So just stay tuned and watch most of the drive, but we will be heading back towards that area later on. What was that? It is quite lovely. It is actually the very first afternoon or day in the last 3 days that we actually have a clear sky with some few clouds parted a distance away. So it's the first time, because it has been so rainy and cloudy, we haven't even seen that many vultures.
Thanks, Barney. Well, here we are with a wonderful big male giraffe.
Oh, look at what we have found in the tall grass. Well, I say that's tall grass, but I reckon that it probably just covers the height of my knees. But there is a tiny little elephant. And we've definitely seen this elephant a few times. I think it is the smallest in this particular herd of ellies. Oh, it's so tiny. It just has a tiny piece of grass in its trunk as well. Not that it's going to be eating much at this age. I don't know exactly its age, but I would think that it's somewhere between a month or two, maybe a little bit older than that. Because it is picking up things and trying to put it in its mouth. It's not completely incapable of doing so, but you can see how hairy it is, and it still has not trained most of those muscles. And you can also see how short the trunk is. Thank goodness that a little elephant's trunk is shorter when it's born. Can you imagine if it was long, how many times they'd step on it? So that's actually quite lucky for those little ones. While they develop all their muscles and coordination. Coordination, I suppose, is an important one there. Here's a young bull coming up close to this female and her calf. She's not too perturbed. I say young. He's quite tall. He's not particularly old. He's still got quite a bit. Young girl. So here we have a very young female elephant that is undoubtedly going to be quite cheeky with us. So she's just come to feed here. She's actually eating. Hello, girl. Is that delicious? Oh, look at that. It's amazing how she's just stripping the bark from the tree and then dropping it. She wants to eat what's right in front of my vehicle. Looks like she's eating a raisin of sort. And isn't this just really unbelievable to see? The largest land mammal, as relaxed as can be, standing about a meter from my car. She came out from us. She came from the bushes and she came to feed right in front of us. I mean, if you were nervous and afraid of something, would you turn your back to the thing that you were afraid of or scared of? Nope. So this just goes to show. But the fact that she's eating is also very important. And she isn't just pretending to feed. It's not displacement behavior. Now she's getting a bit nervous because there's a big cow pushing up quite quickly from behind her. Hello, big girl. You see how she just moves away there? So that's what that reaction was. Again, nothing too aggressive, just she knows her place. And then if an older cow wants to come and feed where she's feeding, she needs to move out of the way, otherwise she's going to get pushed. Very intelligent creatures, elephants. Oh, this is so fantastic. And also the smells. It's something else that I really love about elephants is just all the, I mean, you can smell the sort of muskiness from the dirty mud that they've covered their bodies with. But there's also just like a very earthy smell that you get from elephants. And the more you spend time in the bush, the more you can pick up the scent of different animals, and they all have a unique smell. For example, I cannot stand the smell of blue wildebeest. I also don't like the smell of wild dogs. Lions are particularly stinky too. Oh, it's Alicia. Alicia Keys, you can see. She's my favorite elephant. It's not her real name. It's just the little name that I've given her because we see her every single day. She's got a big keyhole in her right ear. So this is the one that I was telling you that I think is the matriarch of this herd. You can see she's quite an old girl. Her temples are almost completely, not completely sunk in. But she's one of the biggest. Ryan, you're 10 years old, so I was just looking at that little elephant, that female that was quite close to the car, and her mammary glands were starting to fill up. So she's probably got a little elephant brewing inside her belly. The elephants are quite successful when they do start breeding. Probably one of the most successful sort of land mammal species because of their social dynamics, and everybody protects everybody. I mean, very few predators want to mess with an elephant like this. So say if the elephant's about, how old was that elephant? She must have been about 12 or so, maybe between 12 and 15 years old, the one that we saw. That would definitely be her first calf that was developing inside of her. And if elephants give birth, my maths is not very good. If elephants can give birth so the gestation period we know is 22 months, every 3 years, every 5 years, depending on the situation. I think if the bush is in fantastic condition and there's lots of nice lush vegetation for them to feed on, they'll give birth maybe more so every 3 and a bit years or so. I think in this area definitely. So she can have quite a few elephants in her lifetime. But also, I mean, I think elephants are one of the few animals that live to an extremely old age. I'm just trying to work out and do the maths now. So every 10 years, let's just go every 10 years, she has 2 calves. So maybe, what's happening behind her? Emma, I'm waiting for you to help me on my maths here. Maybe about 10 calves every year. I mean, in their lifetime, I think, if they're lucky. That'd be amazing. And you can see that with little smaller family groups where you'll see a big elephant cow and you'll see maybe 2 that are, not quite as enormous as her, and then they've got little ones, and you'll find that they're all related to one elephant. I don't know exactly how many elephant calves an elephant will have in its lifetime. I think it depends on a lot of different things, but they'll raise them to successfully more than an impala or something else like that. Anyways, we're going to try catch up with the herd again. We're going to loop and catch them on the other side. We'll see you in a moment.
So while we're sitting waiting for these porcupines, it doesn't mean that we cannot see other things. So we've got this tiny, tiny little ground agama. It's actually a young ground agama. So it was probably hatched in the summer. So he's probably not more than, let's say, probably at the most 6 months old, maybe even less. And we've got a different one here called a rock agama as well. Now, these ground agamas, they'll stay out on these big open areas, not a stone or a rock in sight, but they often use little animal burrows for shelter. So, when I saw him, actually we were walking around looking for a porcupine quill to show you, and then I saw him scampering straight towards a little burrow entrance. So now he's just kind of relying on his camouflage. He's just hiding there and saying, well, hopefully you can't see me. He just moved out of the sun into the shade to try to regulate his body temperature, because although there's a nice breeze and it's fairly cool, that low down on the ground, there's hardly a breath of wind. Very, very still. And the sand, in fact, the sand's not even hot. I mean, I'm just feeling now it's very, very comfortable temperature. So he's probably using that shady patch there more to break up his outline for camouflage rather than actually temperature reduction. I see kids. The kids session is over, so kids, please don't go anywhere. Jeandre and I are still here, so you are welcome to stay. But yeah, the session is open to anyone to ask questions now. So keep them coming. Yes, they're gorgeous. And that's the thing, is that you're sitting waiting for porcupines, and it doesn't mean you can't see other stuff. And it just takes that time, look around you, and you'll start seeing things. We've had some good birds coming in, little Kalahari scrub robins. A couple of minutes ago, we had some lapwings doing some aerial displays, 2 different groups that were shouting at each other. So, yeah, we'll just stick it out, and we're keeping a very, very, very beady eye on those porcupine burrows there. It's like I say, it's one of the biggest porcupine burrows I've seen on Tswalu. I've actually seen people stand up in the entrance to these burrows. So this one is probably comfortably that size. And there could be, who knows how many, maybe 3 porcupines, maybe 10, maybe 20, I don't know. But it's what's interesting is that with these porcupine burrows, they can last for decades sometimes. They can really last for decades. As long as the sand doesn't collapse on top. And where we are now, this very flat, level area, the soil is actually quite firm. It's very soft on the surface where animals have been walking and trampling it up. But you go down 10 centimeters and it becomes very, very firm, very compacted. So, yeah, those burrows can be old. Yeah. And the other fun things about porcupine burrows is because they're going out foraging on plant material. So some viewers are asking, will porcupines eat these agamas? And I was actually about to say, I was just about to start talking about their food there. One of the interesting things about them is that you'll often see an accumulation of old bones and hooves and sometimes roots and things that they bring back to the burrow to gnaw on, because they are rodents. So their teeth actually grow super fast, and they need to keep on wearing those down, those incisors. And to do that, they'll gnaw on things like bone. So you often get these little accumulations around close to the burrow entrances. They will not eat something like an agama. They don't eat meat normally. They'll gnaw on bones and things, but otherwise it's plant material is their thing. Oranges. You know, if you're in an area where I used to work down in the Lowveld, mangoes and oranges, if they fell off trees, in the gardens, you know, where staff had them in the gardens, yes, then the porcupines would get through those fences to get to that fallen fruit. I don't know how much time I've got here, but there's a really interesting thing about porcupines, and it links into what Taylor's viewing with the elephants down there. You may have heard of the term Keystone species. So, in a very, very brief nutshell, what that is, a Keystone species is an organism that has a inordinately large impact on the environment relative to its size or abundance. And elephants are well known to be a keystone species. They're big, but they're pushing down trees, so they're really habitat engineers. I think we've touched on aardvark briefly about being habitat engineers a couple of drives back, by digging holes, and then there's so many other things that are reliant on that. Porcupines, in some areas, can be regarded as keystone species just because of their habits in some places, and Taylor and them in those areas, they can maybe even point that out to you. We don't see it a lot on Tswalu, but they'll actually ring bark trees. Now, a lot of those trees down at Djuma, Phinda, Ngala, those areas, have got this very thick, corky bark, very rough bark, and that's actually a defense mechanism against fire. Okay, so a porcupine comes along and he starts gnawing because now he wants to eat this bark, so he starts gnawing. And even if he doesn't ring bark the tree completely, but he creates these big open patches at the base of the trees where the tree has got no protection against fire. Fires come through and then the trees are often killed. So that's just quite an interesting different aspect there in terms of the ecology of a porcupine. It's not just this little guy that cruises around eating leaves, but they can actually have a massive impact on the environment.
They are indeed, just as elephants are important and one of the keystone species for the savanna biome, which is the biome that we're currently in. So we're still watching a herd of elephants. We're literally just playing catch up, and I know this route of these elephants now backwards. They do the same thing every single day, which is wonderful, because that means that it makes it much easier for me to be able to guess where to go, as we were discussing this morning. So even elephants have favorite routes and paths that they like to walk. Oh, there goes a tree. Can I go forward for you, Gert? Back. There's an elephant that has just pushed over a substantial tree. Is that good? Okay, it doesn't look super dramatic right now, but that elephant over there has pushed over some tree. And that is exactly one of the things that they do, which is why they're a keystone species, is that they turn forests and very densely vegetated areas into sort of open grasslands, or a little bit more like the savanna biome. What is happening? Does that elephant want to feed on whatever the tree was that was just pushed down? Oh, it's quite thick in there. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Looks like two bulls just having a little bit of a tussle as to who's going to feed where. But without elephants, goodness gracious, what a sad world it would be. Well, for me it would be quite sad. There's honestly no better way than to spend every single afternoon. I know sometimes that you might think that my job might get a bit repetitive, but it doesn't. I can sit with elephants all day long, every day. As I force all of you to do when you come to me. I'm always with an elephant. But it seems as though the breeding herd has actually moved off and deeper into the vegetation, where it's just the game with the bulls. One of these will be the fella that was rather close to our car a little bit earlier. They're just feeding on the outside. I haven't seen any of the bigger bulls today. I haven't seen Kumo. Ezulwini hasn't been sighted on Pridelands for since we last saw him. Megan, I'm glad that you agree with me and think that it would be a very sad world, which is why we need to conserve and protect this species, all the animals, in fact. So let's keep talking about why we need to have these animals on this planet. And there goes the tail, swish, swish, from either side. Yeah, the biting flies are not fun this afternoon. They're definitely out. I think all the insect life is enjoying the fact that the warm weather is back, as they were doing very little over the past couple of days. Not much flying around on those very chilly days. I mean, we had quite a few days where it got to like, what, maximum 15, 16 degrees Celsius, which is below freezing for this area. Just going to drive up ahead. Puma, I think that all elephants are pretty intelligent. I don't know if there have been any studies to detect if some elephants can be smarter than others. I'm sure that they could. I mean, the only studies that are really being done, I don't know where they can maybe, I don't even know how you would test that. It's these elephants in zoos and in captivity and things like that. We can't really test, I don't think, an animal's intelligence. Elephants are natural problem solvers. They obviously are able... Sorry, no, I don't think I've rolled enough. We shall see. Hopefully this elephant will walk into a gap. Sorry, Kat. We can always just look at its beautiful ear with all its veins. There's one elephant, yeah. We're waiting for the rest. So no, I just think in general elephants are quite intelligent. I mean, they're able to remember these routes, you know, these paths that we were just talking about. Now they have this routine. And when they run out of food and water in this area, then they know exactly where to go. Even though, you know, there was a fence up at one point on Pridelands and that there were no elephants here, but they still knew that if once those fences were dropped, they could come into the area, they could feed, they knew exactly where to go to find water. So that's quite impressive. And we're starting to see quite a few different migration species coming back where there were fences and things that were blocking the animals' pathways. And how that's just, I don't even know how that happens. It's like ingrained into their instinct to be able to do these things. It's all very quiet now. I would like to go after this, seeing as though we're in the area. I don't really know where those male lions have gone, but I suspect the other area that they could have traveled to was this sort of space here just in the southeast. So I might just drive up and down some of these roads and see if we can't pick up on those males. The elephants were very upset the whole day around the dam, like I said. So I don't know if they are close by and they picked up on their scent or they bumped into them, or if it was just because there was too much commotion around the watering hole at once. But we'll give it a bash, and fingers crossed that those lions continue to be as vocal as they were last night. All the elephants are going to frighten them and chase them out of the grass for us. But this elephant looks like it's missing a tusk. I'm sure you all saw that just before it disappears. It was still there. It had just broken off. You could actually see if it lifts its trunk up, or when we have a side-on view of it, just below the sort of fold of skin there, you can see a little piece of tusk. And it looks like it's happened quite a while ago. It doesn't look like there's any sharp edges. I'm sure when those tusks, well, when I have seen tusks that have broken off, they splinter a fair amount. So that's happened a while ago. It's worn down. A rumble from that elephant. And off he goes. Right. Just looking around to see if there are any more on their way, but it seems as though we're right at the back of the herd. We'll carry on. I will do, like I said, I'm going to take a couple of these little pathways and see if we can't find any lions, or maybe a leopard. There's a female with a sub-adult male that likes to hang around here. Some oxpeckers flying overhead. Where are you going? I can't see them. Oh, there they are. I'm just looking at the oxpecker. It's always really nice to see where those birds go and where they land. We know that they don't like to sit on elephants. Elephants will just swat them away, maybe grab them with their trunk. Dizzy, I haven't decided if we're going to go meandering down Marula Lane. Perhaps we will. I think it would be a very good idea if we visit Leopard Dam.
Welcome back for everyone again. Very sadly, we just lost you with the very beautiful sighting of very, very rare creatures to be seen. If you guys still wonder what happened there, we just lost that the animal. We just moved into the place where he actually got to this burrow. So that was a pangolin which we were actually talking about. So hopefully we'll get to see another sighting in the meantime. So let's always look forward to. Sorry. All right. So our plan now, we're looking for try some ellies. See if we can find it. There was a report of earlier on was an elephant. We've seen some quite long distance from here. That's what we're going to try to track it now. But anything comes, we take it. Definitely a very cute creature.
Brings tears to my icy cold.
Yeah. Very cool, huh? And it's very nice open air. Can you imagine if he comes out walking around this place? It will be very nice. So, but never say never. It can be any time. These are the good place for this pangolin as well. Especially, this is like for me, it's like a first time on a drive like this, and to see that one of these pangolins. To be honest, I was very, very excited. Okay, guys. We'll carry on try our elephant, but in the meantime, we'll send you across to Dylan in Tswalu. Just enjoy you guys there. See you later.
I'm so pleased that Dumi managed to get that pangolin at Phinda. What I particularly enjoyed about kind of listening in there, and it just shows one assumes if an animal has got a transmitter, and that's for research purposes, they're using it to monitor animals, research, that if it's got a transmitter, it must be very easy to find, and it's not the case at all. It just makes it easier, but it doesn't make it easy. We've got fantastic research going on in Tswalu on pangolins as well. We've got a couple of transmitters on as well for part of Wendy Panano, her PhD through University of Witwatersrand. But it's before you do things like transmitters of animals, you've really got to be able to justify it. So go, what is it for? If you want to know what a lion eats, well, I think we know what a lion eats by now. There's and often these transmitters on predators, when they get released, are very, very valuable if you've got a new release for whatever reason, to ensure that the communities surrounding reserves don't get impacted. If you get animals that they can move out of these conservation areas into rangeland or farmland, and you really want to be able to locate those animals and make sure that they settle down within these protected areas. So that's just kind of like touching briefly on the use of or transmitters there. We've got no plans for any porcupine research, so if there's anyone out there that wants to do some cool porcupine research, I have no idea what, but yeah, give us a shout. I've got a very, very good feeling about this afternoon, just so you know. Shantam, I think that's the name I got, is asking about, would humans be regarded as a keystone species? 100%, absolutely. We alter and change our environment in ways that no other species has ever done before. I think it's self-evident in many respects that there's a huge negative impact from people. I mean, it's not something we're going to go into here. But yeah, humans would 100% be regarded as a keystone species. There's no question, no doubt about that. But a keystone species just kind of while we're on that, is keystone species, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a big animal or a big mammal. It can be small. Porcupine, there's one that weighs a couple of kilograms. That's regarded as a keystone species. A keystone species in one area, if it occurs in one area, doesn't necessarily mean it would be a keystone species in another environment. So out here, one of our very important keystone species would be aardvark, just because the volume of burrows that they're digging, these new burrows. We occasionally get porcupines that'll dig their own burrows, but normally they don't bother with the hard work. They'll say, all right, you've dug that hole, I'm going to go in there, and they just take it off, and they'll start modifying it. And over years, that can get quite extensive, but they don't make those initial burrows. Normally, that's aardvark. So out here, I would probably say porcupines are less important as a keystone species, whereas aardvark are 100%. But if you go down to the low veldt, a porcupine would absolutely be regarded as a keystone species, just because of their impact on those what tend to be fire-resistant trees. Getting that bark off, fires come through, and it can potentially kill those trees. So yeah, porcupines can be, definitely humans, 100% keystone species.
Emily, as we chatted earlier, we have looked around hoping to find that leopard tracks. We didn't really have that much luck. We are getting back into the area where we last left the lions to try and see if they're still here. Right now, there is no immediate sign of them. This is where they have been lying down. I don't think they would have gone too far. Maybe they got chased by elephants, or maybe they went to look for a better shady spot. Look on the ground onto the left here, where the grass is nicely flattened. That's where they were all lying down. So from here, we are gonna I'm gonna take a quick walk just to see if I see which direction the tracks have taken us, and see if we can find these guys. After sleeping there where that flat ground is, it looks like they came into this shady spot here. This is where they were for most of the day by the looks of things. You can see nice flat grass. It has been a hot day today, so I don't think they would have gone too far. Thank you, Kathy. I will go back to the vehicle now. I just wanted to look underneath these trees here. I am going to get back to the vehicle and try and drive around, see if we can see tracks going somewhere. It is safe in a way. If they were close by, we should be able to see them from a safe off distance, and then move back slowly to get back to the vehicle. They did head this way. The tracks are heading up. Penelope, We do often encounter ticks. Scorpions often live inside hollow tree trunks, in holes or underground in rocks, whereas snakes are also on the ground, but they also have a fear of unknown. I just saw the lions just a little bit ahead of us. We will be driving around. So snakes have got a natural fear of humans. So if you're walking and they feel the vibration on the ground, they are as scared of you as you are of them. So chances are that they will run away. And then you get to move into a safe area. So similar thing is with trekking of lions, as trained as we are, and we try to see them before they see us. None of them see us as food. They see us as enemies, which we sitting. It's a fear of unknown that there is between them and us. So they are more scared of us than we are of them. But they just don't know how weak we are. If they did, maybe it would be a different story. So historically, humans hunted these animals, and that's why they're scared of us. So if you track and you see them, most of the times they'll see you growl but run away first. It's not often that they'll stand their ground and try and run at you. Unless you happen to walk to a mother with small cubs that she's willing to defend. And that could be a little bit more of a dangerous case, but also if you're trained enough and you stand your ground and you move away slowly, you will be able to get yourself and back into the vehicle nice and safely. So, Emily, from where I get off the vehicle, from which is where we left them earlier, to where these three are lying down now, it's literally less than 150 meters. So what would have made them move, it looks like they just moved into the nice shady spot. I just didn't see them when I walked earlier because they're completely concealed behind the bush from the other angle. So they're all still lying down, looking at where these ones are sleeping completely in the open as they were this morning. They would have moved into this open area now late in the afternoon as it's starting to cool off. Because during the heat hour of the day around 11:30, 12, it was quite warm for them to want to be exposed in the open like this. So the rest of the pride are lying at least another 100 meters slightly to the south of these three. And they're just going to watch these ones, see if they did do anything. Chances are that these three might get up and try to join up with the rest of the pride where they're lying down. It is already quite cool that our temperature has dropped from the 27 that it was midday, maybe down to the 20s. So it's much, much more cooler than it was. It's not as cool as this morning yet, but chances are, since they spend most of the day sleeping here, that it is already jacket time. I'm just trying to brave it up a little bit. But the cooler it gets, we put on jackets. That means that the lions might also start moving because that is the best time for them to start. If you look on the distance where Owen's camera is, you can see one lion with a leg up in the air. That white part of the leg is easily visible. And if you look slightly to the left, you can see the rest of them, even the one with the leg up. You can't really see it clearly, but look at how uncamouflaged is this white cub here. This is one of the reasons that these lions are going to face as life progresses. When they're big enough to start participating in hunts, at the beginning, before they know exactly what they're doing, they're going to run more hunts for this pride. They'll do more bad than they'll do good. In particular, in times like now in winter, where the grass is dried and it's dead and brown, that looks exactly like that tawny color of the lion. That is the time when they rely more on their camouflage to try and sneak up closer to their prey. Whereas when the white cubs see the adults do so, they're most likely to think that doing the same will be a good idea. So let's wait it up here. Just sit and watch and see how long they're going to take before they get up.
are still on Porcupine patrol, and we're not going anywhere. The temperature's now slowly coming down. I mean, it's not hot by any means, but because they're like really nocturnal, they really want this temperature to be down quite a bit more. But I'm super excited. Like every minute that goes past now, it's getting like better and better, because the chance is increasing now that they're going to come out. And of course, it's always like that waiting game, that tension, because when you start out, you get excited when you first get you. Think, oh, they're going to come out like any minute. And then like the minutes tick on, and nothing happens. But actually, you must just realize that every minute that's going, that chance is actually increasing. So I'm still super optimistic, and the only time I won't be optimistic is when, oh no, wait, that's not going to happen. Genre says he's seen a Kalahari scrub robin now, which is a new bird for him. Yeah. Are you saying it's not? You've seen it before. But that burrow, it's going to be really interesting, and I'm going to say straight out, when they do come out, because I want to be positive about this, it's going to be very interesting to see how many actually pop out that burrow. But I believe there were some viewers that had questions. Have you got any porcupine questions? Yes. Charles has asked a great question, and one I've heard many times is, can porcupines, is it true that porcupines shoot their quills? And you hear this a lot, and there's even some old literature that says, oh, porcupines can shoot their quills. It's not true. What happens, and I'm going to get some porcupine calls for you, and I'll show you actually how it happens. So they've got different kinds of calls on them. So not all porcupine calls are the same. You get hollow ones on the tail, very hollow ones that they can actually rattle. It makes a beautiful, it's almost like a rattlesnake, that kind of sound, but loud. And that they use that for a warning sound. If there's a predator close by, they'll rattle those, you can hear it. Then they've got these beautiful, soft, flimsy, and they can be like that long. What's that, 60 centimeters, maybe even longer. Very soft, whippy quills. Those are their feeler quills. And then underneath those, they've got these very strong, very sharp, rigid quills. Those are the ones that they use for defense, and those can be different lengths. You get long ones like that, short ones like that. And the idea is that those thick quills are not embedded in the porcupine, they're not in the skin very, very tightly. They can release very easily. And if there's danger, whether it's a leopard or a lion or honey badger or person or dogs, if they try to attack that porcupine, the porcupine always keeps turning with its back to the predator. And they'll actually rattle their tail, and then they stamp their feet, and it's like super loud. They're like that, they stamp their feet like that, and that's like a warning. If you ignore it, at your own peril, because what they'll do is, when they think they're close enough to you, or if you touch those feeler calls, then he just races back super fast, and it's a short distance, and that's enough to actually stick those calls into you. And then there's so many cases, so many records of large predators, and I'm talking about things like lions, leopards, actually dying, not because the porcupine quill itself killed them, but the infection or the septicemia from the porcupine quill injury gets them. I've seen lions with porcupine quills embedded in their mouth, and they can't get out, so they can't get them out, so they can't feed, and lions can die like that. You can actually look on, I guess, Google meerkat with porcupine quills. Guys took amazing photographs a couple of weeks back or months back. I don't even know where it was. Got pictures of a meerkat with porcupine quills through it. I don't know how that happened or what was going on there. But yeah, that's a good question, and they can't shoot their quills.
Welcome back, everyone. As we promised you, we were looking for elephant. Finally, we just found looks like another one coming ahead there. It might be a herd of elephant around here. But for now, we just have this younger bull just walking around in front of us. Yeah, a few tracks also as well. if you look around, you'll be able to see more on the right-hand side. But close to the big tree around there. Below that, if you look carefully, there must be there's another elephant there. Wow. Look at them. He's just walking around. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, look at another. Must be a couple of bulls around, but there was a report of a herd coming in the same area, but for now it looks like it's just a younger bulls. Just want to make sure we're not ending up in the middle of the herd. We just try and keep a good distance like this, just to make sure. They're just pausing for now. Wow. Yeah, David, yeah, that's cool. That's true. Okay, looks like they must be moving across to the right-hand side into the bushes. While we're still around here, we'll send you across to Charlotte, see what he's got there. Enjoy.
How adorable is this? It's a crowned lapwing chick. Hello, you gorgeous thing. The parents nearby calling it. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, it moves so quickly, being can't keep up. It's such a tiny ball of fluff. Oh my goodness. Whoa. This is just gorgeous. I will show you my face in a moment, but this one's gonna run off, so let's try and get as much of it as we can. Oh, and it's rejoined with its parents. It's close enough. There we go. You're almost with Mom and Dad. How cute was that? Wasn't that adorable? Hello, everyone. I'm finally here. It's me, Trishal, and I've got BK on camera this afternoon out in Djuma. It is a nice day, and that is a lovely first segment for me. Gorgeous little things just fallen into a hole, but it's out again. And see the fallen over log? On the left? Yeah. It is so terribly tiny. Such a little ball of fluff. Now these things are born precocial, and it's still disproportionate. Exactly, Emma said its head looks too big for its body. It's probably only a few days old. Now, precocial means that they're born able to move around with Mom and Dad, and that's really important. They're able to fend for themselves just a little bit, enough to get them by. And that's super important for ground-dwelling birds, because they need to be able to be up and about and run away from predators very easily. You can be altricial, which means you can be very reliant on your parents and you don't need to move very much, and you can be featherless for a little bit. and you can be fed by mom and dad because you're comfy and safe up in a tree in a nest. Maybe just, I'd say maybe 5 days to a week. When it's just maybe 2 days, they're a little less sturdy on their feet and they trip quite a bit. This one seems pretty sturdy. There you go. Oh, yes. Now you hide under there. Yes, this is your first appearance. There you go. You just stay under there where you can be nice and warm. Tiny little creatures like that lose heat very quickly. And in a time like this where it's pretty cold, you need to be able to snuggle up to mom. Just too cute. I wonder if it'll come out again, but I think that it's a little bit, maybe a little bit scared that it got separated. Too adorable. I guess not gonna come out for us. Luke, you're wondering when it will actually start to fly. Well, its fledging period is around 30 days old. So that's when it's likely to start to fly. But before that, you'll kind of see it walk and run and give a bit of a hop. And that's actually one of the theories as to how feathers evolved in early reptilian-like creatures, where scales became frayed, and that helped the creature actually jump and glide for momentarily, but it created kind of an extra bit of lift. Oh, too cute. Slate, you see that little fluffy thing made your day. I am so glad. So glad that it did. I wish that it called for us. You know, they actually call when they're inside the egg. These little things, which is just too cute. Well, I'm glad that we all got to enjoy that together.
So there have just been small movements of these lines starting to yawn and rolling over. They all went back flat again, but it looks like there is a little bit more activity, a little bit more ears twitching, a little bit, some legs stretching. So they might still take another 10-15 minutes or so while they're lying down. It does look like they are going to get up in a short while. So at the moment we've only got a view of a few of them right in front of us, with that one with the leg up in the air. But the rest of the pride is still here. The males are hiding in nice thick dense vegetation straight ahead of us, and some few other individuals on the other side of the bush there. So we're sitting at the moment, we're thinking that we're most likely to have the ones that we had earlier coming up to join up with these ones here, because as we follow them this morning, their general direction has been going more towards our right, which those on the left most likely to get up and join these ones here before they start going. So we're gonna hang around with them for a while and see what unfolds for the afternoon. So while we're sitting here, we haven't had any other sign of any herbivores. It looks like all those impalas that were distress calling earlier on today, they didn't want to hang around because they know come nightfall, these lines gets active again, that they will be in a firing line. So the only sound that we heard since we've been sitting here, it's elephants quite on a far off distance trumpeting. One kinds of hope that maybe those elephants can show face and walk past where these lines are to try and encourage them to get up slightly early. But it looks like that's asking for too much at this moment in time because those elephants sounded far. Look at that lioness with her leg up in the air. It looks like she is daydreaming. The lioness with her leg up in the air right now looks like she is dreaming about something, either maybe running or maybe she's even hunting. You can see her feet kind of kicking as she lies down like that. So let's take around. They are still fast asleep now, but I'm sure they'll get up with time. We've got a lot of time to wait for them, so let's wait.
We are on Marula Lane as a request from, it was Dizzy a little bit earlier. I thought, yes, let's go to the west. And we have had some luck because we haven't seen any impala, in fact. So we've got a herd of impala, and I was looking for the horned ewe, the female impala, that has been sighted around here. But this does not seem to be the breeding herd that she's in. And then there's also one zebra stallion milling amongst the impala. Clever boy. Not wanting to be on his own. He doesn't seem to have a harem. It's just him by himself. But he's breathing really bizarrely. It was quite interesting when he was a little bit closer. It was almost as if he had a blocked nose. It sounded very much like if he had allergies and he desperately needed to take an antihistamine. And then I looked for any injuries around the muzzle because I thought, okay, maybe something has, attacked it. And I have seen in Zambia, a leopard attacked a almost fully grown zebra and then decided it was a bit too much that it could handle. It had bite marks all over its muzzle and scratch marks down its neck and onto its belly. And then this leopard ended up taking a zebra foal. So it does happen. So I thought, that's strange. I wonder if that was the reason why it wasn't breathing well. But no injuries at all other than a very damaged tail. I've obviously been fighting with other stallions. That's very typical to see. When they missing hair like that, it normally gets pulled out by another stallion. But there is an impala that is alarming. I'm sure you could have heard it, but it is a ram. And they're still a bit silly at the moment. I'm sure you can hear that, and you can see how alert the ewes are. They're looking in the direction of that impala. But it might be that that little lioness that we've seen over the last few days is moving around, because this is the area that we typically see her, is in this drainage line. We have some mud wallows that you can't see. We call Timbwiti pans. They might have a bit of water in them still. They're quite deep. Mary, that's also a possibility. Perhaps a bug is stuck up its nose. I'm not really sure, though, but it was just bizarre how it was sort of breathing. Like I said, no injuries that I could see, but also head pricked and ears poked forward. Impala, what are you alarming at? Or are you going to start chasing everybody around? You see, rutting season has pretty much come to an end, but some of the rams have not realized this and still do the snort at other impala rams, and then they chase one another. So there is still a little bit of that going on. But nobody else is alarming. And if there were a predator nearby, surely one of the ewes would have started snorting. And zebra have got phenomenal eyesight too, so they would have picked up on something. But they are being cautious. Good to be cautious. Leopard Dam is just up ahead. Could be a leopard or a lion on their way to have a drink of water. It might be where these creatures are going. I think, Mary, that's the only way to stay alive out here is to be cautious. I'd be so nervous if I was an impala. I would be super high, I'd be highly strung. I'd be looking over my shoulder all day, every day. I don't think I'd even eat. I'd be looking around for predators the whole time. But I suppose that's the benefit of living in a group, in a herd, is that I suppose you don't always have to be 100% vigilant, because there's always another impala that is looking over its shoulder and listening out. But if you aren't paying full attention, you might be the one that gets eaten. There's also some francolins that are starting to chirp. Look what else we've got in the road. Sorry to draw your attention away from those mammals, but we've got a feathered friend that is just kicking up the dust in front of us. And with this light, it is lovely to look at. We have a Swainson's spurfowl. And just one, which is surprising because they all have lots of chicks at the moment. Well, not this one. This one is on its own. It's digging a nice big hole, loosening the soil. Getting ready to have a dust bath. And this is what we typically see every afternoon with southern yellow and red-billed hornbills. They love to do this. The crested francolins, of course, the Natal spurfowls, and then the Swainson spurfowls. Still hear that impala. Interesting that it's pecking inside there. Are you actually looking for something to eat? Maybe it is. Maybe there's some little insects that are around there. Maybe ants that it could be feasting on. They sort of have quite a varied diet. They'll eat insects a lot of the time. They also feed on seeds and things. Oh, there must be something there. Because I feel like there's enough loose soil. There we go. You can see how it's pecking. So it must be ants. There's a lot of harvester ants around at the moment. And they're not very fast moving. They make for sitting. They're very easy to catch. Oh, they're going to come right down the road towards us. What are you looking at? See how it's looking up? It's looking up into the trees as if to check that there's no predator, no raptor just sitting up there. Move to the grass where it feels a little bit safer. Very exposed out in the road like that. And for an African hawk eagle, for example, would very much like to eat something like this. There are specialists at catching ground-dwelling birds. That's crazy to see. Definitely looking up ahead. Lady Venom, if you're lucky enough and you find a woodpecker, they're quite entertaining to watch. And then you could have some luck of watching a bird pick out a grub of some sort. The other things like white-crested or Retz's helmet shrikes and the hornbill species, the southern and the red-billed hornbills. Not the southern red-billed and the southern yellow-billed hornbills, sorry. They're also really good at catching caterpillars. So if you just watch them for long enough, you will find them. I think the hornbills and cuckoos are my favorite when they catch caterpillars, with the way that they beat them to a pulp on a branch, and then if they're hairy, how they rub them up against on that same said branch before devouring them. It's quite dramatic. Okay, let's carry on. Thank you, Swainson's spurfowl. Nice to see you. I'm going to just keep heading along this lovely road. I might drive on the other side because it sounds like whatever that impala is shouting at. You know what? Let's have a quick look, because I can see a ram. You can see him just past the zebra, and I think that is the one that is doing all the alarming. Maybe, just maybe, we will see what he's staring at.
WildEarth relies on support from viewers like you to carry on broadcasting our daily live shows. A small donation goes a long way in helping us on our mission to connect the world with nature. Please visit our support page to see how you can help and become part of the WildEarth family.
These lines haven't really moved much lately. You just see every now and again an audio on a tail wagging, chasing flies. in particular with the big white cub, the male cub that's sitting quite close to us. And to our front, every now and again, you hear the rolling in the long grass, which I think is one of the Ross males. So the females at the back have not moved much at all, but the young male, the white young male, looks like he's starting to stretch a little bit. See his sharp claws there as he stretches. Maybe he will get up after that stretch, or he will go back to sleep. One of the two. And it's getting quite cold as it is from where we're sitting, and they're not in the sun anymore. So that will make them have a little bit more energy. Look at those two sisters there sitting opposite heads with their paws on the either end of each other. Keeping paws on top of each other, just keeping that close bond going. They're also stretching just about a minute ago. It looks like they're doing it again. Swatting a little bit of flies on the face. Yes, twitching. Other than that, there hasn't been much that has been happening with these lines. As indicated earlier on today when we talked about how long do we think lions lie down for. So further in from the left, looks like some movement of some getting up and going straight back down. Very slowly but surely, it looks like the young ones are the ones that are moving a little bit more than the adults, so maybe they're itching to get going. Let's see what the adults are going to do when the young ones move towards them and try to encourage them to get going. Maybe they feel like a little bit of a stretch, which we will all understand if they do, because after sleeping down here from around 8ish till now, it has been quite a long lie down for them. But this is what lions do. Fruit Loop, I think they like cold nights more than warm nights. Remember, when they move, they're generating body heat within themselves, and they burn a lot of energy when it's warm. And in warm days, they tend to sleep a little bit longer than they'll do in cold nights. And this is one of the reasons why they avoid moving around in the heat hour of the day and move more when it's at night when it's nice and cool. So cold nights, winter time, lions are active a little bit more than they are in summertime, because when they move on the heat hour of the day, they burn so much energy, and they are masters in conserving energy, because for them, wasting too much energy without knowing when their next meal is going to come, it is a little bit of a risky subject. Look at the head of one of the Ross males have just popped up. It looks like he might have heard something, which we didn't hear nor see. He's having a little bit of a stretch, and his movement is encouraged the white one to also get up. So the leg stretches and a little bit more yawns. It looks like it's soon gonna happen.
Thanks, Barney. I hope your cats get up and behave like they do shortly. We've been a little bit exploratory on Simbambili, and we've returned onto Vuyatela, and we found now the most camouflaged guinea fowl you'll ever see. They were nice in the open for a moment, busy scratching around, and it seems like our signal this afternoon dipped again. There they go, a little family unit. And off they go, just scratching a living, digging up any vegetation that they might find, some insects. Unfortunately, they have gone off in a little party. Let's go up this way, Darby. That's a good idea. Sometimes I feel when the vehicle turns a direction due to whatever it might be, guinea fowl, it's setting us on a trajectory that we should follow. This is a road on the western side of Djuma called Sandy Patch. It's wonderful. Oh, Can you see the babblers there? Oh, Luke, you've never seen so many guinea fowl in one place. See if we can get this babbler for you. There's one. Can you see him? No. This first bush, there's one moving around. Luke's never seen so many guinea fowl. Well, when they pair off in the breeding season, you only see 2 of them. And obviously then they have a clutch, and sometimes it can be more than one clutch in the same nest. And you'll often find quite a large accumulation of birds materializing. And suddenly it goes from 2 birds to, there's a barbet, 2 birds to 20. So ostriches are very well known for breeding in the same nest. More than one female laying the eggs in the nest. Guinea fowls don't really do that, but the amount of eggs laid is quite substantial. You can get 15, 20 eggs there from just the pair. There's some hoopoes. Try to do some birding in this late afternoon light. Can you see them jump? He's just sitting in the beautiful light. There we go. There he is. Red-billed wood hoopoo. That long beak. I'm busy cleaning it right now. That is a female. The male has got a longer, more recurved or decurved beak. They are cooperative breeders. It's still there. It's just on the back. There's a couple of them. Was that a woodpecker as well? Or was that a hoopoo? He's popped his head up. They are cooperative breeders, which means you find them in small groups. And with one chick being reared, or successfully, they help to look after the baby.
I believe others have just seen a red-billed wood hoopoo, which I absolutely love those birds. Oh, they're fantastic. So we don't have them here. We got another one called a scimitar, or common scimitar. Used to be called a scimitar wood hoopoo. If we do see one, I'll be sure to point it out. We're still sitting waiting at these burrows, biting the bullet. No sign yet. And I say yet because I was just saying to Jean-Ray, I reckon probably in the next half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour. But I don't know. So, and yeah, this is so exciting. Have we got any more questions about porcupines? The last one was really, really good. Sorry, I didn't get the name there. But the question is, what gives porcupine droppings a red tinge? Okay, Franzi, that's a very good question. And we will try find some porcupine droppings and show everyone else what you mean there. That red tinge, certainly in our part of the world, comes from one of the tubers, one of those rhizomes that we looked at the other day, called an eland's bean. Porcupines are one of the very few animals out here that'll actually actively feed on those eland's bean rootstocks. Remember that eland's bean is that underground tree that we dug out at the Meerkatsé, with that big underground tuber that goes down very, very deep. And that is very high in tannins. And it's actually used by local people for dyeing leather. And you can actually dye paper with it, you can dye clothes with it, and that gives a very pinkish red color. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And if you see porcupine droppings in this area with that color, that's almost certainly what the plant is. But it's not the only one that has that. There's a lot of other plants that have got very, very good, or that you're able to use as a very effective dye with slightly different colors, and including down in the Lowveld. So in those areas of Djuma, Phinda, Ngala, the color of those porcupine droppings can take on a slightly different tinge as well, so it doesn't necessarily have to be that color. But it's the same principle is really that gives elephant droppings. And in areas where other large mega herbivores occur that go for leaves and twigs, you get that lovely rusty, almost like a tea bag colour. So when you've like those dried tea bags, that lovely pinkish red colour, that's exactly the same thing. It's the tannins in the plants that get into the moisture in the gut, and that gives it the droppings that colour. So I just keep on glancing up and down here, because there's Kalahari scrub robins that keep popping in and out at that burrow entrance there. Because they will, yeah. Yeah, Lyle, it's not the sand. It is definitely the thing, but I can exactly see where your thinking was coming from there, saying, well, you thought it might have been the sand that gave it that red colour. And when you see the colour of this earth, it's like a lovely pinkish orange colour, minus all the yellow things and all the other yellow things. But so that can give the colour. There are certain species that the feathers on things like ostriches, when they're lying down in the sand a lot, the males have got these snow white feathers on the tail, and those feathers often take on the colour of the sand. We've got a beautiful big bird in South Africa, and it actually occurs it used to occur right through Africa and through Europe in high mountains, called the lammergeier, or a bearded vulture. And sometimes the nesting sites, the minerals on the rocks, leaching out of the rocks on the nesting sites, can actually stain the feathers on the chest. So there are different ways that the environment can colour an animal. And one of our guides was talking about the difference between black and white rhino the other day, in terms of there's, one of the thinking there is, a black rhino was the first one that they saw. It might have had water on them, or been rolling in mud that was very dark, which got the name black rhino. And the white rhino is a corruption of the Dutch word veid or vader for the mouth, referring to the mouth. So you get black and white rhino. But I've seen fantastic photographs of elephants on a book about elephants, double-page spread, in a comparison where you've got a elephant that is pitch black, apart from the tusks. It's just been swimming in a river, so it was like pitch black. And then an elephant from Etosha that had actually been throwing this calcrete sand over its back as a cooling aid. And so you got this double-page spread, like one pitch black elephant and one snow white elephant. So absolutely, animals can take on the colour of soils and that in the environment, and not just like big animals. It can be things like birds and that as well. But that's a long story about porcupine droppings. Porcupine droppings get their colour from the plants they eat. I don't think it's going to be too much longer. Yeah, so let's just be patient, and you're all doing such an amazing job sticking with us, so thank you very much.
These lines have got ups and downs. Though you can see, if you look, there's a little bit more life. They're rolling over. A few yawns. This young white male, slowly but surely, he looks like he's ready to get up and do something. He's been yawning multiple times, grooming himself. Looks like another yawn, it's on the way. There you go. Just give us a tiny little yawn. It's not a full-on one. One excellent thing about cats, lions in particular, the more we see them yawning, slightly different to what it means to us when we're ready to sleep and showing that we're tired. When you start to see them yawning, it's a sign that they're gonna start slowly but surely get a little bit more active. All they're doing is just putting a little bit more oxygen on the brain and getting themselves ready. So looking at that young maid as a groom every now and again gave us a yawn. It's some exciting news that something might start happening quite soon. He has been more active than the rest of them. So hopefully that maybe as soon as he stands up, maybe he will walk into one of the adult lionesses, give a little bit of a head rub, a little bit of greeting, and some encouragement on them to say, come on, ladies, let's go out there and try and find some food for the evening. Looks like he's giving himself some thorough clean on his paws there. Maybe similar to one of those lionesses or that big maid in the morning that after whatever they fed on last night or the night before, he hasn't really taken an opportunity to groom and keep himself clean. It looks like right now he is taking an advantage of using this time as everybody else is still sleeping and keep himself clean. You can imagine being white and having red blood all over yourself because you fed, how that doesn't look good at all. It's slightly better on the tawny-colored lines because sometimes you don't really see this blood as distinct as it is. Whereas in our poor friend over here with his white coat is very, very easy to quickly see, and he looks quite dirty after such a meal. And this time around, it looks like maybe it was only in his paws on his chest because we don't see it in most of his.
Sorry guys, we've lost Barney briefly. He's loud and I'm sure no time to see. I'm on the southern boundary. Any tracks and Sabi lines coming? But nothing so far. I've checked out the den. Definitely been around, but not with it again.
Hello everybody, it seems like you're back with us. The Gremlins, if you've never heard of them before, you've met them today. So, I'm going to turn. Harvey, do you want me to turn? Ooh, what's that on the road? We got a bird. A bird on the ground. What are you? Ooh. What are you? This is one of our little LBJs. Take some screenshots, everybody. He's wagging his tail. It looks like a type of lark. Flicking his wings. Oh, how wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Now he's got a white supercilium. A thrush, juvenile. The way it was behaving, ground scraper thrush. To get them around, and I heard it call there. Ooh. Dogs behind us, wild dogs. One wild dog. This is awesome. Now there's, okay, we gotta go. Hold on to your horses. This is wild dogs. They go quite quickly. Did you see how that impala was jumping? That is what they do when they see wild dogs. Now, if we can keep up with him, I will try keep up with him. This is not easy, everybody. Now, there's more than one. I have no idea where he's gone. Just need to let somebody know. So stations 1 Madad on Balanatis. Just gone quickly into the block, trying to relocate. Madad is the Shangaan word for wild dog. Did you see he was running at full speed? Now, it means that there's more, and we need to just also drive and listen, because if they catch something. Yeah, if you're around, Trish, if you want to come help me check Zoe's. No tracks. No tracks in the road. We're going to have to listen. They are very efficient hunters. And if they catch, they will rip the animal apart in moments. Garden, exactly. That is a very good question. Where are his friends? Trying to keep up with him like that off-road is near impossible. That rocking horse gait those impalas are doing is the classic behavior that impala do to indicate strength and fitness. Dairy doing it, but they show that all their legs are working. And a wild dogs go, okay, you're quite fit, you're limping a bit, I'm going to take you out. They always go for the easiest. But that dog was at absolutely full speed. Sometimes I've been off-road trying to follow a dog like that, and it's just next level. Next level. Butterfly wants to know who let the dogs out. Butterfly, you're very funny. Everyone, that was quick and very quick. Now, the dogs don't play by the rules when they're hunting. They go this way, they go that way, they go this way. And once they catch something, within minutes, the entire carcass, obviously depending how many there are, is ripped apart. But they make a lot of noise when they do it. Very excited kind of noise. High, sort of squealing, excitement, chirping kind of noises. Although there is a dominant male and female, they don't really behave like that when they feed. They work as a team. Okay, well, we're going to see if we can find out where this one dog has gone. Meantime, let's send you back over to Barney with his sleeping lions.
Things are getting slightly exciting. Can see more and more of them. Say they rolled over, heads up, grooming and yawning. It's getting onto that time of the day. It looks like they taking a little bit of a sleep in this afternoon. Already our jackets are on, getting slightly cold. I hope this coolness will be cool enough for them to want to start to move right away. I can see that this one of the lionesses head is also up and busy starting to groom each other. Facing completely away from us, one thing that stands distinctly as she stands up is how distinct is that black behind the ears and the black at the tip of the tail. So the way she stood up and she's walking away from the rest of the group, she might be going for a quick bathroom break before they get going. After a whole day of sleeping with a little bit of a food belly, digestion would have kicked in, and she's got something she wants to leave behind before she gets going. Just to make herself a little bit more light. There's no point in keeping what a life indeed, Boo. After sleeping for such a long time, they all decided that now they're gonna get up. It looks like we having some exciting times coming. Look at this one young one coming running and saying hello to their father, the rose male. And so as the other one going to join up, the rose male has been grumpy lately. I wanted to see what he's going to do. Did you see how he gave a little bit of a snort there to scare them? And she decided, you know what, if you are going to be like that, I'll just walk away. That one adult lioness on the distance is done with a boo, and she looks like she's looking around. Maybe she's going to choose the direction where they're going to head for the evening. It's only a matter of time for the rest of them to get up. Chances are they'll get up, head on a direction. Maybe they might lie down for a little bit more before they take a long journey. Oh, that was one try. See, she's standing underneath the tree on the distance there. Again, it is a big yawn indeed. It's exciting times. They're getting ready. It looks like the lioness on a far off distance. The wind just changed. After seeing that lioness take a big poo there, we just got a sniff of that poo from. So we were going to try and reposition towards that lioness. It looks like majority of them might get up and start heading that way. Maybe we'll see faces for a change and see how it goes.
WildEarth relies on support from viewers like you to carry on broadcasting our daily live shows. A small donation goes a long way in helping us on our mission to connect the world with nature. Please visit our support page to see how you can help and become part of the WildEarth family.
So we're still waiting at this passionate patchwork of porcupines. You rush there, then you miss things. I've said it before, I'd rather take the chance and not see something than not having taken the chance at all. Some like deeper meaning there, I think. But look at those huge mounds of sand. I mean, that is probably, okay, you know, I've seen the borough from the other side, but there's probably, in total, probably 6 or 7 pickup loads of sand there. You know, in South Africa, we'd say bucky loads of sand. That burrow system underground must be pretty big. Oh, that's a lovely question, really good one. Lockie has just asked, are porcupines and hedgehogs related? No, they're not. Porcupines are pretty much herbivores. Hedgehogs are insectivores. So hedgehogs eat little insects. In South Africa, they love eating slugs. We do have hedgehogs at Tswalu. But why I like that question, why I think it's a really nice question, is you get a thing called convergent evolution and divergent evolution. So convergent evolution would mean you've got two completely different species. They're not related to each other in any way, not even in their long-distant lineage. They are separate completely. But they reacted over millions and millions and millions of years to the same or similar environmental conditions and factors, and because of that, that caused them to get the same kind of body shapes, patterns, designs, those kind of things. And hedgehogs and porcupines would be a nice example there. Slightly different scale, but similar principle. It could be armadillos and pangolins. It could be giant anteaters and aardvark. I'm just kind of rattling off ideas off the top of my head there. But that's a great question. But no, hedgehogs and porcupines aren't related. Porcupines are rodents. I mean, you know, these little guys are your pet rat, and I'd recommend all kids to ask their parents if they can please get pet rats, because they're really, really good little animals, very clever. I'm just glad. But yeah, they are rodents. So. Linda wants to create a hashtag about the porcupines. Yeah, passionate porcupine patrol. I'm not saying the porcupines are passionate, just that we're passionate about porcupine patrol. We're going to get them. We still have a whole hour left. And remember, with our badges, that was like a 10 to 6, 5 to 6, we got them. We're not going to give up. There's no ways we're going to give up now. And our colleagues down at Phinda, they're having amazing sightings. I'm so pleased about that. So it's interesting about it, just while we're sitting here, we're sitting in this beautiful grass. Porcupines will also dig up grass roots and feed on it. It's not their norm, it's not their staple, but they will go for it. But this grass that you're seeing here, it's an annual as opposed to perennial. So this grass reseeds every single year and grows from scratch. And this won't get touched by porcupines. That's why you'll see quite a bit of it around here. It's not like they're having any impact on this grass whatsoever. But it is certainly beautiful. I know Chandra is enjoying the backlight there, aren't you, Chandra? Chandra loves backlight. Potty, it is aesthetic as aesthetic can be. It is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And that's the thing as well. Doesn't matter what you're watching. Sometimes you've just got to sit quietly and enjoy the beauty of nature, regardless of whether it's a piece of grass or a twig or a porcupine.
Thanks, Dylan. You do indeed have to just enjoy the beauty. We found at the corner there where impala had run full speed. You can see by the way they hit the floor. We had the dog coming up here before. We haven't heard anything. Koki Franklin. Expect to hear some chattering if the dog's caught something. Now, it's not very common to find one on its own, you see. So I've seen one on its own very rarely. And we had one on its own a couple of years back here that I think was injured quite badly. But then the pack came back and brought it some food. How exciting was that? Anybody feel that excitement that we felt? It's hard to put it into words. Hope I didn't make any of you jump when I shouted the word dogs. Overly excited. We'll just stop right there. Stop right there and have a listen. So we got a nice little view. The ending of the sunset. Unfortunately, we didn't get it. Elephant. There's an elephant off to the left. It's going to be quiet and listen as well. Sorry, hyenas and dogs are fighting, it sounds like, on the other side of the road here. It's a hyena getting a hiding from a dog. I think we might get it in the block. Hold on, everybody. See, the noise that we're listening for is the noise of dogs killing something. We couldn't hear it, but a hyena They are very quick to pounce on these sounds, and when they come in, they get a hard time by the dogs, because the hyenas just, for some reason, just don't try and work together as a unit. They try and be selfish, and as soon as the dogs chase one of their friends, they go in to steal the food. But if the hyenas stuck together, they would outcompete the dogs, but they don't. Rex, is that you on Triple M? I've just heard some hyenas making noise right here. I don't know if it's on the opposite side of the road. I'm just here coming through the block. The prey animals that they hunt move. It makes for a more difficult target. They just sort of scatter, and then the dogs will pick up on one. Sorry about any breakup that we might have there, everybody. Here we are on Triple M, which is the boundary with Arathusa. I'm just going to have a listen. Okay, there's a hyena's now calling in the reinforcements. Yeah. Definitely happening over there.
Apologies, it sounds like Steve is having some technical difficulties, but hopefully we will be back live with him in the Wild Dog shortly. As for our lions, they slowly but surely have gotten up, started stretching, moved around a bit and lie down one more time. The exciting thing is that they all now heads up. Seem like the Rossmaid has also come out of the thick bush where he was towards these two sisters over here, which by the looks of where the others were looking, it looks like this might be the ones that are going to lead the way as soon as they start moving along here. Some of them are quite far on a distance behind the trees, but we're just standing by for all of them to join up and start moving and see what we can get for the evening with them. Can hear on a far off distance a whole lot of different birds are calling, just letting everybody else know that they're still alive, that they are going to be going to sleep shortly. Quick evening chorus for them, and that should be a good wake-up call for these lions to say that it's also time for them to get up and get going, if they're willing on try, or if they're willing to try and hunt and find something tonight. They're going to need to start moving at some stage. Tammy, it all depends in a lot of different things. Individual lines, different days, how nice and cool or warm it is. If they are too hungry or they've eaten something recently that they don't really feel the need that they need to get up and get going now. So there is no set time as such. It's just one of those things that you're hoping when you find them that once you catch up with them that they'll get up and get going quickly. But remember, when we found these guys this morning, they had full bellies all round. The males were much more fuller than everybody else. So they definitely had something to eat sometimes last night somewhere. So I'm not surprised that they're not in that much of a hurry, but they've already sort of done the beginning part of showing that they're getting ready by yawning, getting up, grooming each other. One individual is busy moving from where she is towards where most of the pride is. So hopefully if she gets there, groom one more time, maybe the others are also going to get into the mood of wanting to get up and getting going. You can see the light is starting to fade slightly. They love walking during the cover of the darkness because that is a little bit more advantage for them. It's not easy for the herbivores to see them once it's dark, so it will give them an advantage of getting slightly closer to their prey before they get spotted. See, left. See, if you look at that lioness right there, getting stretching, holding on to the tree, and taking a stretch before they get going, sort of stretching before a long night starts. The big boys also started doing some yawns. One of the Maria, the light is gorgeous. The sun is just settled, so we've got some beautiful colorations in the sky, a little bit of blue and a little bit of pink. So that light all together kind of feeds back on, in particular where these lines are lying now with this brown grass getting a little bit of a reflection of what is above. It is a beautiful light indeed. Depending on where you are, David, every day is different. Unlike us that can just take our yoga mats with us to have an exercise wherever we are, it looks like that. So it looks like that was a chosen day for her for the afternoon to have a little stretch and a little bit of exercise before she gets going. So some of you are commenting on how beautiful the light is at this time of day, this late afternoon light. And you can see that where genre is framed up on that sun and those trees. I mean, it's just glowing now, the grass, everything. What is also glowing is the temperature. It's glowing down. But these porcupines, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Sugar has just said, how do porcupines mate? And before I could answer, I said, very carefully. Yeah. But it'll take about, they're pregnant for about 11 weeks, the females, once she's had them. And they can have anything between 1 to 2, 3, occasionally 4, I think 4. So it's not like they'll have like these big litters. And
they'll stay down inside the burrow for a couple of weeks. I mean, they're actually quite well developed. The incisors are really well developed. They've got very soft quills on already. But yeah, and then when they start coming out, they'll be tagging along with the mother, feeding. They're beautiful animals, porcupines. And that black and white, just interesting. I mean, we take these things for granted, but that black and white coloration is a pattern that's followed by a lot of animals. And it's usually for advertising danger. You know, black and white bind a leopard's ears. If a leopard's angry or frightened, it actually puts its ears back at an angle, and then you see that black and white clearly on the back of the ears. That's a warning. Porcupine, black and white. There's a steenbuck, just out of interest. Go scan past your box here. Okay. Sorry. There's a steenbuck walking just past us here. We didn't even see it until now. And he just ran off. And that's the thing, you sit quietly. Things start moving around. There's actually a herd of buffalo that are staying in this area at the moment, so we keep our eyes open for those. But yeah, like I was saying, the temperature's going down quickly now. And we left all our jackets in the car just because we were numpties and we thought it wouldn't be that cold. But it's getting chilly now. Because it's so peaceful at this time of day.
See, the Rossmaid is staring quite on a distance there behind the bush where we can hardly see. It looks like that's where the young male has been this whole time. Rossmaid himself, after staring into the tree there, he gets up and starts heading towards where the rest of the pride is. Most of the pride members, except the young maid and two other young cubs, are the only one left on this side. The rest of them are heading up there and lying together in a group right where the Rossmaid is heading. We're gonna keep on viewing him as he approaches them. Watch how he's going straight towards that tree. Looks like he might want to mark his territory. Decided against that idea and headed straight towards where the rest of the pride is. We are then gonna try and reposition. We're gonna start and see if we can get a better position to go have a look at them. As we follow through with these lines, you will see where most of them are lying at the moment, all looking like they're ready to go. If you're willing to ask any question regarding these lines that we had a lovely afternoon with, remember to send your questions to #WildEarth.tv. How beautiful, after such a long wait of waiting for these lions to actually get up and do something, to see all of them getting up and pick a direction that they're looking like they're gonna head at. I know from where you are, you might not be able to hear what I just heard on the direction that they've just chosen now to head towards. We just heard some hyenas calling. So it could be a coincidence that they're heading straight on that direction, but that hyena is not going to like their presence when they get there. Look at how playful they are. They're so full of energy right now after spending the whole day lying down. So as they move along, before they spot anything that they might want to hunt, so they will be moving on this direction until one of them sees something up ahead of them. That's when maybe they will change their behavior and communicate through if they're trying to hunt. Right now, just looks like majority of them are happy to have managed to go up and starting to move. Just to remind the viewers about seeing it in black and white. Look, it's a beautiful thing after sitting with lions the whole day. While you watch the lions lay down the whole day and do nothing, it's hard work that have paid off at the end of the day to actually get to see them on the move. So let's stick with them and see what they're gonna do.
Well, we heard a lion contact calling while we were waiting for those dogs, and we're sorry we lost you. And Rexon is on property as well. He came to help us with the dogs, and we think we found something. He's told me just to... Yes, it's a male lion. It's a male lion. Let's get in front of him so we can show you. We heard the contact calling. The Not a very loud roar. Just that sort of Who are we? Who are we? You look like Dark Man. Or are you Blondie? Yeah, that's Dark Man with the injured front foot. He's always going to roll in it. Here comes the Ode de Boeuf. No, he's not going to roll in it. Now, this guy's been spending a lot of his time up in the north with the Talamati Pride, unless one of his brothers has now also got an injured front right foot. See how he's limping. He hasn't quite fixed it in August. Him, bless you, him together with the Pride, and Djuma Pride killed the buffalo just outside Voyatela camp, and his foot was broken. After that, he hasn't quite been the same since. But we found him. Here he goes. Try to get back in front of him. He's going to first have a smell of that. Oh, my starter motor is not happy with me. Stopping and starting of these cars incessantly. Luca's cousin, you're so excited to be here. Well, we're so excited to have you here. I'm just going to position myself because he's going to walk all the way down. And he's going to come and say hello. He's going to come and say hello, and you're going to see how big he is. Just like that. You're going to see how big he is, everybody. I haven't blocked his path. I've crossed the road. Your call, Darby. See how his front right foot, he's still favouring it. You see how he's not slapping it down like he does with his front left. Okay, Emma, we're going to go to IR as soon as you're ready. There we go. See, he walks straight behind us. He's not concerned by the vehicle, you see. He has... Oh, my lordy. Sounds like my starter motor is giving up the ghost. I do apologize about the noises that it's making. Okay, we're just going to jump across again here. He is smelling the buffalo herd from the other day. Aren't you a gorgeous boy? Yes, you are. You're such a gorgeous boy. Yeah, he's got that scar on his left lip. Left lip, the top left. There's a little scar there on the lip that was completely cut open at the same time when he damaged his foot. This is one of the Avoca males. I'll call him Dark Mane. Probably some of you out there might correct me if I'm wrong, but that right foot. Did he make a noise? Did you hear that little contact call? Let's get in front of him again. Everyone's in agreement with me. Well, that's awesome to hear. He's done this before. He's going to come smell this bush because it looks like a nice bush to smell. I don't know. I'm going to go behind the bush. Where are you going, boy? He definitely picked up some smell before, didn't he? Now he's turned left. Okay, well, he's gone behind the car, so as soon as you want me to reposition, there we go. Let's try reposition. He might actually, I don't know if he's heard what's the word? A reply. Okay, great. Well, we're going to try get you in a better position with our line, and Barney's got his, so let's send you back over to andBeyond and Ngala.
So you can see how close they got into us. We looped around to the front. So at the moment they are on the move, but one after the other, they taking steps forward, lie down, and the other one comes over. And slowly but surely, but they're keeping their general direction as mentioned earlier, heading towards where we hear the sound of the hyena. So it looks like they might head right across the Timbawati riverbed as we follow them cross from the one path this morning. It looks like they might cross it more to the south right now. You can see on the background, we are not using any spotlight. We're using a light called infrared, which means we can be able to view these lines without having to use the spotlight, and they cannot pick up the actual light of the infrared, so it means they're not getting disturbed. However, the one thing that an infrared doesn't give you, you're not getting color as you'll do during the day, so you will be viewing these lines under black and white, just so that everybody understands what's going on there. Yeah, they're ready to go. We'll take whatever they get that comes their way, if it's small enough or big enough for them to be able to deal with. But yeah, they look like they're full of energy after the whole day of lying down and not doing much. This is exactly like at 5 o'clock in the morning or 5:30 for us when we wake up and get ready to start a drive. This is exactly that time of the day for them. They have got a long night coming ahead where the males might start marking their territory, maybe even roar, while the females who walk with them walk, lie down and stop until such time where they spot something that they can hunt. Could be anything from anything size of giraffe, buffalo, all the way down to the size of an impala or bushbuck. So depending on whatever they spot first, they are not gonna not go for something because it's small or big. They will take whatever opportunity they can get. Remember, those impalas that were distress calling after them in the morning, they would have not stayed around knowing that there is danger around. And for these guys to find their first opportunity to try and hunt might take them a good few kilometers before they come across something. By the time they do come across something, they're going to be so ready to go. Right now, in the vicinity of where we are, there is no visual or sign of anything that they might be willing to hunt. They are just moving and sleeping, but they look like they're not going to lie down again. They're going to carry on moving for a while. So we're sticking with them to see if we can get some action. Moi, just as you say that, I don't know if you heard, there was one of the cubs that made a contact call, which is a call they made that is not as loud as the roar is, but it's the sound that they make to try and get hold of each other. Remember from what we said this morning, there is the female with the smallest cub that is missing out of the group. So if that contact calling it is to try and get hold of her, if she's not responding and you know that she might be close by and just worried that maybe she doesn't hear them, it might lead into a full-on roar where it will be quite a thing, in particular if you're sitting with a pride of 15 lions and they all start roaring all over around you. It is such a beautiful sound to hear, which will be exciting if they get to start roaring. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, look at how this light is picking those eyes as they look like they focused on something, which I'm not going to lie to you, I can't see what it is right now. See how they look like they're not doing much, but it looks like they're listening to hear what's happening all over around them. It could be anything really that might lead into them having an opportunity to hunt this area on in the night. Look at that yawn. She gets up just after that yawn. Remember how we talked about yawning being a sign of activity. And here she comes. See how they're all moving and they're all stopping and pointing their ears on the one direction, which is behind us at the moment. There has been some elephants that have been trumpeting on that direction. Sounds like they might be chasing something, which we don't know what. It could be the hyena that we heard earlier on. It could be the leopard that we heard calling earlier on in the day. The rest of the pride, as we speak now, on both sides, the front and behind us, they're all up and moving again.
Hi guys, I'm just that calico pan, that just sounds like a dog. I'm gonna investigate that in a moment, but I hear some elephants somewhere around here. They can be really difficult to spot in the darkness, but we'll give it a go. It sounded like a lone elephant. We'll just stop at the top here and have a listen again. Oh, hello, Daika. Can you see it through there, BK? Just through here. I may have to reverse a little bit. Oh, there it is. Hello, Daika. There is another one behind us. And those are good indications. So if I hear something that sounds strange, like those dogs barking, the antelope should have reacted too, so that just makes me question whether the dogs were just reacting to people or to a predator, because those antelopes should have. Oh no, Mr. Elephant, where have you gone? Okay, well, I'm gonna keep on searching. Maybe we go around to, or maybe up towards Viatella Dam. I have that predatory feeling. Not the one where I feel like a predator, but rather the one where I feel like there's one around. Let's have a look. It's been so difficult to find tracks, especially today since the rain has stopped, so the ground is not sufficiently dry. David, you say you didn't know wild dogs barked so audibly. David, that was somebody's dog, like a pet dog, not a wild dog that was barking. Wild dogs can also bark, but it sounds different. And it's not their go-to or typical sound. When wild dogs call, it's quite special. For me, it sounds like an alarm. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm very bad at it. Alright, I'm gonna keep on searching and I'll swing around to both of these dams.
Thanks, Trish. Well, our man has come out of the block. He's basically, I'm just going to reverse back quite a bit so that we can get him walking towards us again. Sorry about the bumpiness. He went into the block, he was smelling something, and then he decided to come out again after giving us a very big run around. Don't know what he smelt. Herd of buffalo had been through there. Here he comes. Sorry about the bumpiness there. Reversing off-road is always fun. I can tell he's actually been lying down for some time, because as he starts stretching, that foot tends to not give him as much discomfort, although he's still favouring it. He's walked quite far today. As far as I know, he was, at least yesterday, he was right up in Buffelshoek. Now he's all the way down here on our side. So, let's see if we can get another view where he's going to. Anyone's guess, but he's going to go straight back to the north, I would say. Straight back up to Buffelshoek. But which route he'll pick is debatable. You see how relaxed he is. He's not at all bothered by us driving next to him. Just hoping that he gives us another call. Just overtaken him. Goes to show how fast we're moving. And get another shot in front. David, he nearly did put out his hitchhiking thumb, but I don't know if he'd fit in the car. He's quite a big boy. Oh, he's stopped now to smell the bush, of course. It's just out of range. Just out of range. There he is. Now he's marking his territory, everybody. Bear in mind we had rain the last 2 days, so it's very important for males of both, not just males, but females with leopards, to reclaim their territory, to walk familiar boundaries. The rain washes away the scent, and so they need to go and reapply. And there's glands on the face. There's also urine that they spray. And so they do all of these things on their little journey. But I think he also wants to connect with some lions, because he wasn't roaring, he was contact calling. Contact calling, maybe he knows someone's around that we don't know. Their senses are very, very acute. But he's now playing a game of hide and seek. He's picked up a delicious scent in the bush there that he's rubbing all over his face. Let's see if he turns with a phlegm and grimace. That's a great quality bush. You see how he's favoring his right foot. He's definitely an impressive male. He's lost a lot of weight. Well, he lost a lot of weight after he got injured, but he still managed to outcompete his two brothers with a limp, practically couldn't walk, for mating rights to Chela. All three of the boys managed to actually mate with Chela, which was very interesting. I'm tempted to go closer, but I know he's going to walk here, so I think we're just going to wait. Hey, Darby? Yep. Just wait. He's given the, there we go, a thorough spraying. Now he's going to walk here. It seems to be. Darkmane seems to have really stuck together with the Talamati pride and spends most of his time in the north. I've had him a few times come through like this, going in both directions. I think he goes and meets up with his brothers, the two other Evoker males. And they generally hang out with the Nkuhuma pride. So they seem to be moving in areas that he's not in. But all three of them used to spend all their time up in the north here. Hello, big boy. You don't realize how big they are, everybody, until they walk around past you. They're huge. Very good. Well, we're going to follow Darkmane, see where he goes to. And while we do that, let's send you back over to andBeyond and Ngala. We've got a whole pride of lions.
As Steve was saying, a few of these lionesses have also just walked past our vehicle, 100% right. You don't realize how big they are until they're actually all over around the vehicle. In particular now, because we're sitting in the darkness without any light, with just the infrared to be able to view them. It's actually quite scary when you look and some are moving behind you and some in front. It looks like they've settled down for a bit again. They have chosen the direction that looks like they're going to go towards. I don't think this waiting session now is going to be that long before they get up and go again. However, we will try and catch up again with them tomorrow morning. We'll see if we find their tracks and track them and see if we can figure out if they were successful overnight. Jota, patience pay, eh? Let's be grateful for the little bit of movement that we got to get. And some days are different than others. If we tune in again tomorrow, maybe if we find them, they will be nice and active. Maybe we'll see action. So good things come to those who wait. So I think just rather tune in again tomorrow to catch up with them and see what they do. Because right now it looks like they're not going to take too long before they get up. But it's getting quite dark. And yeah, I think let's tune in tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow it will be a different day as far as line is concerned. Thank you very much, everyone, for being patient. Look, one of the lionesses is coming again, most likely to line right next to the vehicle or walk past us. Stop, listen, and look around. One thing that we do give them, although they haven't hunted, they are trying hard to listen to hear what's happening around them before they carry on. Looks like she's gonna sit down. The big cats have settled down again. We don't really have more time, so we invite you to tune again tomorrow morning at 6 to 6:30 and see how tomorrow brings to us. We are not too far. We are at andBeyond Ngala. We are not too far from one of our sister lodge tented camps. So when we leave in tomorrow in the morning, first thing, we are going to look to see where the tracks of the Pride have headed. Have a great evening, everyone.
With our male lion, and we've managed to move quite a bit further. And hopefully he's going to just a very slow walk past. Maybe he's going to go to this bush on the left there and say hello to it. These major routes or roads, you see how the lions are using it. See why we use the roads for tracking. It's a very comfortable and easy route for them to walk on. It's nice and fast. And it basically mimics a massive game path. And so these routes are ones we always check, because when a male's on a territorial mission, he uses that route. He goes to the various sign boards or signal posts along the way, which he then uses for scent marking himself, reapplying his own scent, covering up those of arrival. Well, there he gets past us again. Let's just get in front of him for a final shot. If I don't stall the car, that is. Just zooming in front of him real quick. Final minute of the show. What a way to end. There he comes. There we go. Well, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed your afternoon with us. It has been wonderful to come in at the end of the show with wild dogs and lions and the most enormous amount of content from everywhere else. Emma H., thank you. Have a good evening too. And to all of you viewers, thanks for your questions and comments. We'll see you again tomorrow morning. Enjoy your evening further. I know this chap is going to. And until then, have a good night. We'll see you then. Good night and goodbye.